Assim que a minha pergunta para você, Fred, é a seguinte: será que nós podemos afirmar que a singularidade é a lógica abrangente que define o momento de um sistema único que se espalha por todo o globo? Ou, dizendo a mesma coisa de outro modo, será que a singularidade é o movimento central da era da globalização? Isso, se for verdade, o que é que você vê em nosso mundo em oposição a esta lógica do efêmero, a esta lógica que dispersa, compartimentaliza, separa e que pode muito bem acabar por colonizar o nosso futuro e transformá-lo em apenas mais do mesmo?
I think that I would like to insist on the way this description is meant to be dialectical. I know that much in it sounds critical, and certainly people who are committed to art today assume that I'm making an attack on contemporary artistic practices and so on and so forth. A term like anonymous in connection with subjectivity may seem to be very negative or critical. I think that all of the developments that I've described are both, how can I put it, are beyond good and evil. That is, they're both good and evil. It's very hard for us to tell what kind of new forms will emerge from these transformations. And I think it's best to think of them both positively and negatively, to think of them as a loss of much that went before, for example, in artistic modernism, but also as an opportunity for all kinds of new things, as a loss of older kinds of personalities or egos or privileges of the self, but again, in terms of a kind of democracy of impersonal consciousness. So I think one cannot, when you talk about resistance to these things, well, obviously regionalism is very prevalent, I would say, all over the world in literature and art. There are certainly attempts to reconquer, to conquer a different kind of space, even a different kind of time. I think there's certainly any number of interesting current filmmakers whom I would call late modern and whose slowness of images and shots and so on and so forth is a rebuke to the rapidity of current temporality. So I think one can find resistance to some of these trends everywhere. On the other hand, one can also find, and it's equally instructive, utopian defenses of the new kind of consciousness. And I think I may have mentioned the way in which computers have been celebrated as a tremendous conquest of precisely of the multitude, of connections with other people, of a kind of mass democracy. So I think it's well first to be aware of the ambivalence of all of these things before one interrogates them for what they promise or what they could be used for.